Good evening, I'm Mark Kiesling. It's a new chapter for 17th Street Barbecue. As we told you yesterday, owner Amy Mills announced they are closing their Marion location. Today, she sat down with News 3's Paul Wilcoxon to talk about that decision and the future of 17th Street Barbecue.
Closing this Marion location was a very emotional decision.
As a restaurant owner, closing for good is rarely an easy decision. But in the case of owner of 17th Street Barbecue in Marion, it's one that had to be made.
The restaurant has really never recovered from staffing issues after COVID.
Owner Amy Mills announced Tuesday 17th Street Barbecue restaurant in Marion would close, effective immediately, after almost 20 years in business.
We were one of the first properties developed here on the Hill, and we really enjoyed some booming years until 2020.
That's when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and Mills says the Marion location would typically welcome as many as 250 guests, ran by using 65-person staff. But since COVID, Mills says the staffing has been a fraction of that number.
We have never had more than 35 staff members since COVID, and right now we've had 28.
Like so many other restaurants, 17th Street Barbecue was forced to close down because of the pandemic.
As a business owner, shutting down for 2.5 months was very difficult. Some of our staff stayed, but others in the hospitality industry across the nation went to other industries.
Mills says the lack of staffing caused issues with keeping regular hours, leaving many customers confused as to when the restaurant was open.
Our staff is very overworked. This was really an untenable situation.
The closing of the Marion restaurant does not affect their location in Murfreesboro, as Mills says it's still thriving.
Our Murfreesboro location is celebrating its 38th year in business, and we are doing very well there.
Although Mills says closing their 17th Street location in Marion was a financial decision, she understands the overall impact of the closing.
The people aspect is what makes it so emotional and so difficult.
Reporting in Marion, Paul Wilcoxon, News 3.